like, oh, okay, there we go. Back to recording. Like, if you ever felt like that, like felt like you got left out. And I'm sure that other people, or if you've ever been the person that's been like, oh, well, I would, but I know that they're busy. I know that they can't come. I know that they've got the kids this weekend. I know that whatever. And we make these assumptions, right? All these reasons that somebody couldn't go or wouldn't go instead of extending that invitation anyway. So like that's again, like my favorite part about Zaya is the community aspect. Like I focus on the community and the connections and all the other really cool stuff happens because of that. But what if instead we looked at every opportunity? If you feel weird about inviting someone to Discover Zaya call, if you feel weird about sharing light and tights with someone, if you feel weird about asking someone to host a party, what if instead of like, we weren't so focused on the rejection aspect of that, but instead we were focused on like, we were invitation fairies and we made sure that everybody felt like they had the opportunity to be included. One of my biggest regrets with working my business, especially in the beginning and a little bit even now, honestly, is there were some closer people to me. I don't know about you. Raise your hand if people that are closer to you, it's harder to like share the business with them. Yeah, because we actually do care what they think about, like what they think. I had a few people who are reps now that were like, honestly, I thought you thought I'd be bad at it because you didn't ask me. I didn't think you wanted me to do this with you because you didn't ask me. And I was like, wow. So I'm the person who left somebody out, which actually, like, I have so much anxiety over leaving people out that I'll be like, oh my gosh, can they come? Can their cousin come too? Like, I want to, you know what I mean? Like, I do, because I know how much that bothers me because I have FOMO. And even though most of the time the answer is no, I can't go, I still want to be asked. I still want those people, like, please keep asking me. So if you've ever felt like that, where you're like, oh my gosh, please keep asking me because one of these days I'm going to be able to do it. I'm going to be able to say yes. I'm going to have a babysitter, or whatever that situation is. What if we looked at inviting people to this opportunity as that? What if we looked at it from that lens instead of the what if I get rejected and they think I'm stupid lens, because like, or whatever you feel like. Hey, Nikki, do you have your hand raised to ask a question? It's showing it. It might be an accident, which is fine.
Nope.
Did I lose her?
I think she removed it. Yeah, I don't think she meant
Oh,
to
okay.
do it.
No
Yeah.
problem. I wanted to make sure that if there was a question.
Yeah.
So what if we logged into Facebook, or we got, you know, when we thought about reach outs or making those Facebook posts or following up with people, what if we were invitation fairies instead? Oh no, Nikki, you're totally fine. No worries. And I'm sorry, I did not mean to call you out. I just didn't want to miss anything if you had a question. So that's something that has like, that was like a really weird epiphany for me. And really over this weekend was just kind of like, so how often do we really make assumptions about what other people want or other people can or can't do? And if you've ever been the person that's way too busy to do anything, but you're like, oh, I hope that they keep inviting me because one day I'm going to be able to do it. And one day the answer is going to be yes. What if we made that assumption instead? And like how powerful that would be to be inclusive. Like, I don't know. I think I think that that's cool. I think that really shifted things for me. So I want to encourage you with that. Also, I know that Megan mentioned that this is like a Dash to Director group, which is super cool. I want you right now though, like, I want you to think about what you would feel like as a double Zaya executive, what team size you think you would have as a double Zaya executive, like what that looks like for you, what you would feel like as that leader. And here's what I want you to know. And I think that this is so important, that there is no rank and I'm sure you've heard this before, but there is no rank that says like, I have arrived. I now get to put my feet up. I don't have to ask. I don't have to include people, right? So what if we looked at it like that? Anytime that you're not out there doing the work, inviting people to parties, inviting people to this opportunity, what if you were like, you thought about it as like, I'm not including people today. I'm going to get out there and start including some people, right? I don't know. That's something that was a mind shift for me. I hope that helps you. I hope that speaks to you. But start leading today. Like today can be a new day, but start leading today as if you were the leader that you want to be when you have 1,000 people on your downline or 15,000 people on your downline. I have 16,000 people in my downline. That blows my mind. Get a little nervous about it sometimes. I'm like, whoa, it's a lot of people. It's scary to go live, no, but really. And I think like the funny thing, and it's not that funny, but in 2019, when I spoke at Summit, I said that, and I didn't have 1,000 people on my team at the time, or 10,000 people. And that's something that's like really cool, because it was kind of like prophetic in the moment. So I 1,000%, 10,000% believe in visualization and stepping into that, like thinking, and not so much of just like a checklist of like checking the boxes of what that looks like. Like I wake up and I check in with my 7 direct, like, no, like, what does that feel like? Who do you want to be as that? And then make the conscious decision to start showing up as that. The best piece of advice that I can give you is to not the massive action, the unsexy stuff, the day-to-day. The best piece of advice is the consistent action, to consistently show up when you don't feel like it, to show up when you're super sweaty and you've been out at a barn. Like, I'm really thankful that you guys can't smell me. And that's a really cool thing about this business being virtual also, is that, you have that control with it. And sometimes like, this is like, I don't know, this is kind of silly, but like, you have to be responsible with your freedom, right? Because you have the freedom to work whenever you want, but you do still have to make sure that you actually work and you get consistent with that. It doesn't matter when you do it, but consistently making those connections, consistently showing up. This is something else that I shared with my team. I only bought the kit for the discount because I was a fitness instructor. Made sense. Lululemon snob, like the stuff. I was like, well, I should probably throw a party just to try to get my money back. My party went really well. And I was like, well, this is cool. Maybe we should do this some more. And I did another party and it was a dud, like crickets, dud. And I had this, like, I got hot. I had this like panic where I was like, oh my gosh, what if it wasn't that easy? What if they weren't all like, what if they weren't going to be good? What if this is, and in that moment, like, I really could have not booked another party, because I had done what I said I was going to do. But I pushed past it, and like, I'm really freaking thankful. Like, I'm like, hey, just so you know, past Amy, like future Amy is really thanking you right now, for pushing past that and booking those parties. So, even though you had the one that sucked, even though it felt like I was spinning my wheels for a hot moment, like there have been so many times, over the last 4 years that I was like, what the heck am I doing? Like, it's not working. When I say that, I mean, like, it would work and then all of a sudden it wouldn't work, right? But the only way out to the other side is through. And I can tell you this, I've had reps sign up out of parties that did $0. I just use and look at every single opportunity, as like, every failure as an opportunity to learn, or to practice doing live videos, to practice cold messaging all of those people, to get just like really comfortable with being uncomfortable and doing it anyway, because we know that it works. We know that those are the things that work. We know that making connections and making adding people to VIP groups, reaching back out to those people, fostering your VIP groups, making sales, asking those people to host parties for you, being a really awesome rep to your hostess, having your hostesses back, showing them, like treating your hostesses like gold, having this built-in way to show them the business, and then asking them to join you because they were such an awesome hostess. Like, those things work. It works. If you can get a pair of Light and Tights on somebody's body, like, it works. So we get, which my cat might make an appearance here in a second. Sorry. I'm like, no. We get distracted by all these other things that we could be doing. We get distracted with our teams. We get distracted with what corporate's doing, but we have to go back to the things that work, and not even go back. Stick with the things that work, even on the days that aren't fun. I know that, like, if I had major success with my business when we only had the only pair of leggings that we had in stock was black mid-rise full-length Light and Tights. I am 5'1". Those suckers went to my toes. Okay. But I was like, we have the perfect yoga leggings that your heels don't get cold and downward facing dog. No, what I'm really trying to tell you with this is, like, even back then, like, we didn't know any better. We just did it. And I think that this is another, like, I'm all about some analogies. This is another thing, like, with, you've been around for a minute, you know about the, like, restock issues, how things with the metallics and the leopards in June of last year or 2 years ago, I don't even know, it's time where it was bad, of PTSD from it, because everything sold out in 2 minutes. And it was so scary. But, like, it doesn't matter because it was a bad dream. I know. It doesn't matter though, because someone is finding success. And when that was going on, the thing that I told my teams, and so right now, right, it feels like we're in a little bit of a drought, and not even a drought. I don't know, whatever you want to call it, I don't know. I don't know what the weather feels like to you. But, and I don't even know why at the time, because I'm not a soccer player. I played it like half a semester in junior high, like once. Like, it wasn't, I don't know. But I was thinking about how, like, you know, in soccer, like, they'll play in the rain, like 2 teams show up, it's raining, they're going to play. Okay. The team that wins is not going to credit the rain for their success, but the team that loses is totally going to be like, we lost because it rained. But the team that won is not going to be like, we won because it rained. And if you're like, what are you talking about, crazy girl? What I'm trying to say to you is that, you know, you can look at all of the things that maybe aren't going great, or, you know, aren't working for you right now, those conditions that maybe corporate's giving to us that aren't what your idea of ideal would be. But I promise you, there are people finding success with their businesses right now, and they're not going to say, like, oh, I really had success because corporate did that one promo. That's what I credit the success of my business to. But you might be in this mindset right now where you're like, this is why I can't be successful, because they're doing this. I don't know about you, but I want to be a winner. I want to be on that winning team. I don't want to credit the rain, but I want to say, like, we overcame the rain. In spite of the rain, we did this. Maybe we danced in the rain a little bit. I don't know. There's another analogy for you. But I think that we don't get to decide what the playing field is, because we aren't the CEO. We aren't the Bradleys. We aren't taking those hits and losses that the company takes for us. Does that make sense when I'm saying that? And not saying that in a negative light at all. I'm saying whatever your personal opinion or your personal judgment on whatever that situation or our current situation as a company or state of the company or products that you wish that we had, like, we don't get to design the playing field. We just show up and everybody else is playing too. So the cool thing about that is that there aren't winners and losers. You just have to wake up and play the game, but you have to consistently wake up and play the game. You can't decide to not play the game because it's rainy and the lights are too bright. You're not going to win that way. And again, like I'm not even like a sports person, so the sports metaphors are, you know, gonna be whatever. But I don't ever want to let the rain stop me. I don't ever want to let those external conditions that I can't control, but that all other reps are also experiencing simultaneously, to be the excuse, to be the thing that holds me back. And I hope that that makes sense also, or hope that that speaks to you in some capacity. I want to be the team that says, like, in spite of the rain, we showed up and we did awesome things. And I had massive growth in my business during that time. And we had a single pair of leggings to sell that were black, mid-rise, full length. Do you know how many people want those? A lot of people decided that they wanted those. Because that's what we had to work with. That's what we had in the party. And I don't mean to say this from just like a, you know, a grandpa, like walked uphill both ways 5 miles with holes in my shoes back in the day. No, it's not that. We're just going to keep there's always going to be some sort of obstacle to overcome. It depends on how you look at the obstacle. But at the end of the day, the really cool thing is, no matter what craziness and chaos is going on in the world, no matter what promos Zio puts out, no matter if summer shorts sell out in 2 minutes, at the end of the day, like, our job here, the thing that doesn't change, the thing that's consistent, is always going to be consistent, is making those connections, solidifying and strengthening those connections, because that's really what sales is. It's relationships and connections. So if we focus on those, it doesn't matter what any external factors are going to be. And massive action is not what gets you there. It's about consistently pushing that pair of mid-rise black full-length leggings that to everybody that might need a pair of mid-rise black full-length leggings to accessorize for a night out, that needs them. So I've probably talked for way too long, because I do that.
Oh my gosh, no, this was so freaking good. Like, this whole time you're talking, I'm like, oh my God, she's totally speaking to me. This was so good for me, because so many of the things you said, we were just having conversations, some leaders and I today, about these exact things you said. Like, I feel like you're reading my brain. We talked about how it doesn't have to be massive. It just has to go back to the simple actions that we've always done, but we tend to overcomplicate and get in our own heads and our own way. And oh my God, I loved everything you said. And I loved your soccer analogy. It's perfect. It was spot on. Seriously, Amy. So you have a way with words and a way of inspiring people. It was so good. Seriously. Does anyone have any questions for Amy really quick, but so we can get her back to getting her pool party ready for tomorrow? Anybody have anything, Amy, that was seriously so good? Exactly what we needed to hear, because it doesn't matter. Like, there's always going to be something that could possibly get in our way or be a bump in our road, but it truly is what we decide to do with that and how we decide to keep staying consistent. I loved it. Let's see here. Anybody taking this recording and running it to my team, Amy? Yes, this recording is going to come in 2 sections too, guys, because my first one got cut off. So just FYI on that. Anyone unmute? I adore your perspective. So spot on. Thank you. Everybody's like loving on you, Amy. Okay. Well, Amy, I don't think anyone has any questions, but I cannot thank you enough for taking the time. This doesn't benefit your team in any way, and it just shows how much of a servant leader you are and how you truly, truly have your heart in the right place. And I just thank you a million times over and over again. Thank you so much.
Bye.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thanks, Amy.